love this bike so much. I love this bike. Oh. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another, not just another episode, actually. This is the 100th episode of the Rice Rocketeer. It's crazy, 100 episodes. In the past 7 months, I made 100 videos. We've gotten 1,000 subscribers, guys. We're building, we're growing, we're getting some momentum here. And I wanted to start this video by just saying thank you to everybody who has subscribed. It means the world to me. It also makes this whole process so much more fun, guys. Having the interaction from you guys, your opinions, your thoughts in the comments, keep them coming. I really, really appreciate it, and this whole thing would not be nearly as fun if you guys weren't around for it, so thank you so much. If you have not subscribed, this is your opportunity, this is your calling, your invitation, so to speak, to subscribe to this channel. Very casual NYC moto vlog, guys. I got a little segment for everybody. I got city riding with me talking. I got the bike on the highway where I don't talk, which many people prefer. And then I also have yours truly, an amateur, learning how to ride in twisties, of which a lot of people warn me about deer and critique how I ride. Totally open to it, and you guys are welcome too. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure to like this video if and only if you like it. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed. Now, with all that out of the way, guys, today's video, I felt it was only appropriate to have a video about the thing that kind of started this whole intense moto vlogging channel, or intense focus on moto vlogging, and that is this bike right here. I have a 2024 or 2023 Triumph Street Triple 765 RS in cosmic yellow. And I've always said I don't really do reviews. It's kind of true, kind of not. But I would be remiss if I didn't give a little update half a year in. So today's video is going to be all about this bike, my experience with the bike, what I don't like about the bike, but it's like practically nothing. So it's really just an overall positive view and an explanation of my journey with this bike. We're going to do most of it from the seat. So I'm going to get on the bike. We're going to ride into the city. Right now we're in LIC, Long Island City, which is in Queens. You can see big apartment complexes, luxury living, right? It's very similar, in my opinion, to Battery Park. So we're going to jump on the bike, ride to Manhattan, go to Battery Park, and we're going to do the FAQ session over there. So that's the day, that's the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and let's jump on the bike. All right, guys. Let's do this. All right, so guys, this is my motorcycle. If you're subscribed, you've seen this bike, well, 100 times as of today. For everybody who's not subscribed, this is a 2023/2024, depending on where you live, Triumph Street Triple 765 RS in cosmic yellow. This color has grown on me, guys, just starting with aesthetics. I absolutely love it. Originally, when I saw it, both this and the red option, when I saw it online, I just thought, ugh, looks terrible. But when you see it in person, and the video doesn't do it justice, but there's this shimmer, there's this kind of layer of just glimmer on this yellow that's so amazing, and I love it. Never thought I'd say that, but and the red too. So if you're hung up on the color, you like the bike, but you're hung up on the color, go check it out in person, because I guarantee you're going to love it. All right, so some basic specs of this bike, all stuff you can find online, so nothing special. It is a 765cc inline triple engine, produces 128 horsepower, about 63 foot-pound of torque. You got Brembo disc in the front and the back, 2 in the front, 1 in the back, obviously. Showa big piston forks, fully adjustable in the front, and then fully adjustable Öhlins piggyback monoshock in the back. Let's see, what else is important to know? Oh, there obviously are 2 models. You got the R and the RS. This is the RS. The RS is slightly spec'd up. It has a little more horsepower. I believe the torque is the same. Comes with 1 more rider mode, a full TFT dash, which you'll see in the videos, but it has many instruments, 1 extra rider mode, and is just a little more fleshed out. The other differences are small. This angle of the seat, I think the seat is a little lower on the R. This one seat is like 32.8 or 9 on the higher side, and the tires are different. These are Diablo Super Corsa 3s, I think. So nicer tires. Forgive the bike looking like absolute garbage, guys. It's been rainy and snowy, and I just haven't gotten around to cleaning it. So Very sorry about that. So that's kind of the basics of the bike. There's also things that I've added. I have the Racefoot exhaust. I got the full system option. The reason I put it in air quotes is because it is not really a full system. It's Triumph headers that Racefit sells. The reason they do that is it's a welded system for this year and I believe last year's model. So they just kind of make it easier on you in that you don't have to source the headers and then the exhaust from different places. It's marketed as a full system, but it's not actually technically a full system. But just to clear that up, many people have asked me about that. I have Moto Dynamic in the back. I got the tail tidy, as well as the integrated tail light back here, so the blinkers are inside the tail light. Both you can get a Moto Dynamic. I think together they ran me about $120. And then the only other thing that I got was this right here, the radiator guard. Small thing, but I'm very paranoid. I don't know about you guys. I'm paranoid about punching a rock through it and having to spend all that money to fix it. So that's all I did. That's all I really planned to do. Maybe change the mirrors out. But the bike is so beautiful as it is. I think it's so aggressive looking, so classy looking. This is one of my 5 motorcycles that I have not gotten tired of any part of the visuals, or really, as I'll get into, in general, really, the whole bike. But every time I look at this bike, I have to look back. I absolutely love it. Now let's talk about how it rides. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Been doing a lot of Rick and Morty references lately. Alright, let's go. Am I recording? I hope I'm recording. I'm good to go. I am not really sure how to get there. This is kind of like an isolated spot in Queens, but I will figure it out, and then we will get into the video. Let's go the back route. There's a fun little stretch right here. Oh. Alright, so let's talk street triple. I've had this bike for about 7 months now, and let me tell you, it has only gotten better. Like, every month that goes by, I feel exponentially more comfortable with it, and I can't really find anything wrong with it. Like, I do primarily city riding. I like to get out on the weekends and do highway riding. And this bike checks all the boxes. There we go. It is super quick in the city, but it's also capable of doing this, like just chilling. Like, it is in terms of power, it's a very, very predictable ride, smooth throttle. Everything that comes on this bike is premium. So it's just like, for the price tag, like I just feel like you get a lot more than what you pay for. So, in general, let me talk about Triumph as a brand, guys. I worked at the Triumph dealership, and I'm not like sponsored by Triumph. I don't get any kickoffs, even though a couple people have bought the bikes because of me. I wish I had some kind of setup with them, but I don't. I just really have come to like the bike. I've had many other bikes. I've had 4 other bikes, and this is the first one, as I said, that I am not disappointed by in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I've just become more and more enamored with the bike as time has gone on. Triumph to me in general feels like a very premium brand. It feels kind of like a luxury brand, but not really. It feels like something that's just classy. Like, no matter whether you go with their classics or you go with the sport bikes, it all just seems really well thought out, really solid in every way. The only bikes that I think come in feeling a little budget are the Trident, the Trident 660, the 660, the Tiger 660 Sport, and what's the other one? Oh, the Street Triple R. Wonderful bike, really good in every aspect, but just doesn't seem to really check the boxes that Triumph usually does. Everything from the TFT display, it's not even a TFT, it's just this analog thing that has really no shift light. I mean, it has one, but it's not very good. And it just doesn't have the same feel that the RS does, for obvious reasons. I mean, they're meant to be different, but those are the only bikes of Triumph that I'm kind of like, I could do without. But those are the entry-level bikes, so it's like, that makes sense. Anyway, when it comes to this bike, guys, the fit and finish on this bike is what really caught my eye at first. Like, nothing feels cheap, nothing feels loose, everything is like solid. Whoop. You can see, the front, you got the Brembo master cylinder up here, which I don't, I guess compared to my MT-07, it feels so solid. I think I had the same cylinder on my Indian, but the clutch, the master cylinder, all the buttons, everything just feels solid. So from like a quality like a manufacturing quality standpoint, to me this bike gets like 10 out of 10. I could do without this dash. I think it's a bit much, and like, I've gotten used to it. After 6 months, I've gotten really used to it. Let's see, how do I get over here? These fuckers. I've gotten used to it, but the tachometer is the thing that everybody complains about, and like, it is kind of hard to read. But honestly, when you're really revving the bike out, you see it kind of turn red, and that's all you need. After a while in any bike, you kind of feel where you're at with the engine, so that's less of a concern to me. But it's a lot of stuff up there that I just personally don't really use yet. The plastic itself doesn't feel, I mean, it is plastic, it's plastic, but as far as other bikes that I've sat on, it doesn't rattle around, it's all solid. I seriously do miss the metal tank of the old triples. I just liked them. They were bigger too, they were a little bit wider, and they kind of fit my legs better. But it's not a problem at all. Like, this bike is very comfortable, and I got no complaints. So fit and finish, production wise, this bike is really solid. Yeah, your feet are in the neutral position, which I actually appreciate. Originally I had wanted something a little more back, but it's too aggressive for the city. So this bike for me has been perfect for city riding for the most part, and then also getting on the highway and tucking in when I feel like it. You can do both. So that's the look, the aesthetic, the fit and finish of the bike in a nutshell. 10 out of 10. Like, it's just grown on me. In terms of acceleration, let's talk acceleration, guys. It has been a journey for me. I've never had a sport bike. So I've had parallel twins, V twins, single cylinders. And my journey with this triple has been so fun. Learning how to rev it out, learning where the power is delivered is just so much fun. And this is a very, like I said, predictable, smooth throttle, you can see, but that doesn't mean that it's boring at all. It's kind of like, what I found is that you have to work at making it give you that ridiculous surge of power. So if you want it, you can have it, but you got to work it. It's not something that you can like mistakenly hit. Like, even when I give it a little, it's not unmanageable. is what I'm trying to say. So if you keep it down low, like 4 and under, you're happy, you're good. And that's probably the same with all sport bikes, but I've heard that some can be more aggressive than others. And this bike can be aggressive if you want it to be, but it is also capable of being chill, just like this. So around the 3-month mark, I got it up in like, 6,000 to 9,000 RPM, and I was getting familiar with what that's like. And then after that, it was like month 6, I revved it all the way out. So I went on the highway and I got to feel what the top end power is. And so the conclusion I came to is there's 2 main hits of power, guys. From 5 to 9, right here. That's the first burst. And then it kind of peters out for a minute. And then at the top, like from 10 to 12, is like an explosion. It's great. So this bike keeps on giving, guys. You're gonna be surprised. It's just a whole bunch of fun throughout the entire rev range. So much so that when you see me ride, I'm typically revving out 2nd and 3rd gear, just because why not? It's just so much fun. I know I'm making the engine work harder than I should, but you can't not. It's just a fun bike. It's incredibly lively. Woo! It's just in every way the throttle is mapped so well. Now I started in rain mode when I originally got the bike. And that sucked. Rain mode is actually good in the rain. Like when you're chilling down here in the city, it's actually really just nice. Like I enjoy using rain mode in the right setting, or like when it's crowded down in the city and you just don't want to be managing your throttle as much. Whenever you need a break, rain mode is great to have on hand. And then there's everything in between. My favorite mode is rider mode. I kind of customized it. You have this extra mode where you can customize the throttle mapping, the ABS, the traction control, all of that stuff. I'm now riding without traction control, which is great, which I believe gives the bike a little more power, just less moderated power. And then there's also ABS, which you can put on many different levels. I have it on track right now. And then the throttle is on track as well, and it is super peppy. And it's the only way I can ride really anymore, unless, like I said, I get tired and I'm lazy. Acceleration delivered incredibly quick. So will require some maintenance, but makes the ride very fun. So you can play around with that, and it's nice to have that level of customization, which many bikes do. Many bikes have that now, but it makes this an absolute joy to ride. So I really, I don't see myself really ever getting tired of this bike. But that's a little something about the acceleration that I love and have loved. And then in terms of handling, guys, this bike has always been incredibly flickable. The minute I got on it, I used to have 2020 Street Triple R, and the main thing, even more than the horsepower difference between the R and the RS really comes at the top end, so the average person doesn't get a chance to really feel the full power change. But what you do feel, especially on mine because it was the low ride height, was the flickability, guys. I believe this year in particular they changed the wheelbase or the rake, one of the two, or maybe both, who knows. But this model is particularly more flickable. Not to mention you're kind of pitched forward a little bit more, so naturally with your weight over the bars, the bike just wants to tip in. Super easy. What's going on here? There we go. Yeah, the bike just wants to kind of tip in. It makes this bike a pleasure to ride, especially when you get out on the country and the highway. It's really easy to do things like this, it's just without even a thought. The bike kind of just goes where you want it to go. what I really need is some tank pads so I can really move back and put my knees in like this, and hang on and feel secure. That's my next quote-unquote mod. It's not even a mod, it's a sticker. But yeah, the bike handle is absolutely beautiful. The only thing I'll say is when you're leaned in, and I have not been on track and I have not really leaned, but I have heard that it is a little less stable because it is more flickable, so it's less stable. Usually those things work inversely, so something to think about. Braking. The brakes, guys, spot on. Like this master cylinder, I have so much feedback from this lever. Whenever I take a corner, I've been learning about trail braking, doing it when I can. I really feel like I feel the road through the lever. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, it's these, and they're like stop you on a dime. I almost want to turn the ABS off, but I won't, just because there's no reason to, I guess. But these brakes are so responsive that you kind of know where you're at. It's just like you're speaking the same language. This whole bike is just so, you get so much feedback from this bike that I love it. In the city, no problem, guys. Not too powerful at all. I'll keep it in first and second, really, and I like to kind of rev out second when I can. Main avenues like this one. Let's see. Come on, let's go. There we go. But yeah, cruising on this bike, great. Like, what am I in now? I'm in first gear right now, riding through the city, just chilling. Perfect city bike. Highway is great too, really revving it out, and pinning the throttle makes for a really fun pull. This bike rides that line perfectly. Like suspension, guys. Suspension is great. I've never had Olin's suspension, and I don't know good suspension versus bad suspension. I do know that, again, my MT-07 is like a very budget bike in general, so like compared to that, it feels like luxury. I haven't really messed around with getting it tuned or like getting the suspension customized, which I would very much like to do. I'd also like to just harden these up. Like my bike, this bike has come very soft, the suspension. Most people who've gotten this bike say opposite. They say it's very hard. So I guess it's just how the factory sets it up. Maybe it varies, but I'm long overdue for some adjustments and experimentation. But I will say this: it's a very cushy ride. Both the front and the back work wonderfully. Very comfy, and the one thing is when you accelerate, at least when it's softer, it takes away a little bit from the ride. So it's a simple adjustment thing, but it's great that it comes with both fully adjustable in the front and the back. It really makes it customizable bike. I'll get back to you on that one when I play around with it, and we'll see how it goes. Another thing regarding suspension, guys, that I forgot to mention, the suspension's set, and I think this is common among most bikes, but after about 1,500 miles, the suspension kind of set down a little bit lower, so the bike felt naturally a little more comfy to me after that period of time. That's a short rider thing. A little ahead of myself there. Woot. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so, you know, I've never been able to, like, this is me flat-footing the bike right now, but I got a flamingo in. If I put both feet down, I can kind of now get the balls of both feet down, but cannot flat-foot this bike. Which, for many of you out there, probably will not be a problem. I guess I'll address that in the FAQ. That's one of the most common questions I get. How tall are you? So we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm just going to, for the rest of this ride, I'm just going to book it on down there. If I think of anything, I will mention it. What is going on here? It is way too much fun to rev this bike out. Oh, God. Worst way. Worst road. Oh, God. Oh. There's that first pull. So yeah, it's a little difficult to have some restraint with this bike. It's constantly egging you on to push it a little further. I guess that's not really a negative. It's just what the bike is. But that's a thing that's negative for me. Is it makes me want to go fast, and it's kind of difficult not to. Although it's fine, you keep it in the low revs, you could do it. But this bike is almost too fun, if that could be a negative. Alright guys, this is Battery Park. Let me pull over and answer some FAQ. Frequently asked questions. So no standing. Go to the end there. Maybe at the end over there. My friends over here in this building. No standing. God damn it. Everybody's standing. This is where we're gonna do it. Everyone's parked except for me. Okay. All right, guys. So we are here in Battery Park City. I love this park. It's a really fun kind of like, you can see it's kind of similar to where we were just at, like big buildings, residential, very nice, what do they call it? With all the amenities, the buildings with like gyms and parking and everything that I want is here. So I like riding here. Anyway, I want to take a minute to answer some of the most frequently asked questions that I get on the channel. I don't mind answering them over and over again, but I just figured I'd throw them in the review update, whatever this is, of the Triumph Street Triple 765 RS. So the number one most common question I get is, should I get the Street Triple or the Speed Triple? Now, completely different bikes, guys, and I know you know that, and that's why you're asking, right? But if I had to choose between the two, I would still go with the 765. I think it is just a much more fun experience, especially for city riding. If you're going to be mostly in the city, even if you're 50-50 in the city, this bike has no problem keeping up on the highway, but it also is manageable in the city. And that's, you know, after a while, having to manage a leader bike in these narrow streets or in any streets of any city gets really annoying and really frustrating. So I would prefer to do something less powerful that has the same capabilities of being able to rev all the way out and hit the power band and allow you to tuck in when you want to, but not all the time. So I have to say, hands down, 765 all day. I wouldn't do the 1200. I did get a chance to ride the 1200. It's a great bike, but the whole time I was in first gear. Granted, I was in Brooklyn, but I was in first gear, and I just thought to myself, I could not do this every day. This is very frustrating. The seating position is also much more committed. So it has clip-on, so you are fully committed the whole time. And if you're thinking about cruising on the highway with that, you're going to get tired of that. If you're thinking about riding through the city, you're going to be a lot less responsive than you would with the less committed position of the 765. So 765 all day. Second question I get is, how tall are you? I am 5'7". I have heard from people that my legs are shorter than the average, so like, I don't know, take my review of the height of the bike with a grain of salt. But as for how I feel on the bike, I feel confident. I'm fine to handle it. It was a little tall when I first got it, but I got very used to it. I can't flat foot the bike, but I can get both feet down, balls of my feet down on the floor. And usually I just flamingo it, and I'm totally fine. You know, the fact that the bike is, now that I have an exhaust system on, it's 400 pounds, around that. 400 pounds, super light and flickable. It's a very manageable bike, even for someone of my height. So, not a problem. Third question, kind of subsection of two, is low seat. Is it worth it? Should I get it if I'm on the shorter side? Yes and no. I bought the low seat and I had it initially to kind of like ease myself into this bike, and I don't know, I could have done without it. I'm kind of glad I bought it as a transition. If you have the money, do it, but it changes a few things about the bike. First and foremost, the defining quality, well, one of the defining qualities of this bike to me is the maneuverability, the flickability, the handling of this bike. It's so easy to tip in, like I had said on the way over here, and you kind of lose that because the seat sinks you a little bit, and so you're no longer over the handlebars, you're more so just that 1 inch of difference really does change everything. And I just felt that I wasn't getting the same experience with the low seat height. When I threw the stock seat back on, it was like a brand new bike, and the whole bike just started swerving, and it was great. So I think maybe as a transition, if height is really, really a problem, then it's worth it. It also is wider in the middle, so the seat itself, because it's flatter, it's wider. You don't have that kind of natural bulge that the stock seat comes with. And that pushes the seat into the inside of your thighs. So for me, I was getting a little bit of chafing, and it was on longer rides, on my couple 100-mile rides, it was really annoying. It was really frustrating, and I even ended up with some kind of almost like a rash on the inside of my legs from it. So it's not so extreme, but it's an annoyance. And if you ride, you know that those small annoyances really get at you after a little bit. So I don't know. I'd say if you have the money, do it. If you don't worry about it. You're not missing out on a full-on experience. And then I get questions about the exhaust as well. Which exhaust did you get? I realized when I put the name of the exhaust, the Growler, I put it Street Triple X Growler. I meant that to be like a combination of the two, but I realized there is a Growler X. I do not have the Growler X. I have the original Growler that comes with the baffle and a set of earplugs. Shout out to RaceFit, thank you for that. I got the Growler full system. I said this at the beginning of the video, but I'm just going to say it again. It's not really a full system. It's like it's Triumph headers and then RaceFit mid-pipe and can. Essentially, the new bikes are fully welded systems, so you need to get headers in order to put the exhaust on. Now, RaceFit also sells titanium headers, but I did not get those. They sent me the Triumph headers and their can and mid-pipe. So they call it a full system just because you are in fact getting a full system, but it's not actually a full RaceFit system. So that's the deal with the RaceFit full system option. I put all the links in the description again, but that will clear that up. I had to go back and forth with them to figure out if it was really a full system or if it was just a split as it is. So, but either way, I don't know how much horsepower or power I gained from this. The throttle feels much more responsive with this exhaust. I don't think I gained like 10 horsepower or something crazy, nor do you ever, but I don't think it really was that much of a performance boost. I think it was more so a feel and what an exhaust is, which is the emotion, the heart, and the connection that you gain from getting this exhaust. I highly recommend it. It is very loud, very loud. Without the baffle in there, you need earplugs if you're going for a longer ride. My ears were bleeding after I went to Long Island. That's about 100 miles. Ooh, that was rough. So get some earplugs if you're going to get the RaceFit exhaust, even with the baffle. And then last question. What was the last question? Oh, how could I forget this question? Is this bike okay for a beginner? And I've gone back and forth. I say this about every bike, but I go back and forth, and I've come to the conclusion that no, absolutely not. Do not buy this bike. If you have never ridden a motorcycle before, you just passed the MSS, and you want to buy your first bike, don't let this bike be your first bike. In no way, shape, or form should you spend that much money on a first bike. B, should you get something with that much power? 128 horsepower is a lot. And I know I said the throttle is predictable and it's smooth, and that all remains true. It is a very smooth bike, but it's a tremendous amount of power to hit a certain way. And if you're not familiar with the fundamentals of the clutch and shifting gears and being around cars and just the basics that you're going to spend a lot of time worrying about, naturally, don't get something with that much power. If you're coming from something with, like, even if you spent time on a 150 or 200 or 300cc bike and you're comfortable with the clutch, you're comfortable with the mechanics, and riding down, like in downtown and being on the road, then this might be okay, depending on you. I mean, it depends on how much dedication you're willing to put in to go practice with the bike and really understand it. It's a lot of individual character qualities that will determine that, but you might be okay if you're already cool with that stuff. But as a first bike, I'm sorry to say it, I'm sorry to be the guy, don't buy this bike, buy a different bike, drop that one a few times, and then size up rather quickly, which is what I did. But I think it's a bad move. It's not really all that safe to jump on this guy for the first time. So those are the main questions that I get. If you guys have any more, throw them in the comment section below or in whatever video. I respond to all the comments, guys. This is the 100th video. That is the video in its entirety. So thank you for tuning on. Thank you for watching, guys. Again, if you have not subscribed, make sure to do so. Click the subscribe button and hit that like button if and only if you like it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.